Hello dear language speakers. Today I'm going to discuss how a mixture of English and French called Anglois would sound like. Well, I looked at an alternate timeline called Divergence of Darkness, which is most commonly known in the game Victoria 2. There is a nation called the dual monarchy. Basically France and England united and formed it. And Anglois is a mixture of French and English because both were spoken in some areas in this timeline. What clues do we have? Well, when trying to figure out how this language sounds like, we need to look at its history. It's very important. For example, from real life, Silesian is Slavic based but has many German vocabulary. Why? Because of the Germanization made by Otto von Bismarck. The Wikia article tells me that the nobility of the dual monarchy was French and had a fondness to English. Thus, it is kind of clear that French is a base language. The article also says that the noble and elite Anglois is the origin of the base Anglois. What do the French and English think of it? The French thought that French would be the dominant culture and they call Anglois an embarrassing imitation of French, and the English thought basically the same. Well, that's not really helpful. Both English and French speaking people don't like the mixture, so I'm going to make a really horrible mess. It is spoken in Normandy, Landres, Paris and Bordeaux. Because of the name of London, Landres, we get the clue that this has more French influences and probably French spelling. France and England unified after the 100 Years' War in this timeline. The game is set in the 19th century, so we need to take the 15th century English and French and merge them together for 400 years, while using French spelling and pronunciation, and using probably many English words, because the nobility liked English. Let's go to work. Phonology. We have to start off with the early modern English and the middle French, both transitioning to modern French and English. Basically, we use for our substrate, the base of the language, Middle French, but instead of transitioning to the modern one, it is transitioning, to English. Here are some phonological changes. There were really many changes. For our timeline, we should think that an Anglois speaker is some French dude in the 1600s who really wants to try to speak the good English. As you can see, we could basically use the phonetical inventory of modern French, but we have to add some sounds. We add the th sound, the or the h sound like in house, and different from English, we have nasal sounds probably, and a frequent use of the vocal u. Grammar. The grammar of English and French has usually not many inflections. Yes, French uses inflections for the plural and the feminine form of nouns and adjectives, and we could keep the plural one, but let's leave out the flexion for the female form because English doesn't have it. Furthermore, French has way more conjugation than English. Just look at the word dire, to talk. We should definitely try to get this down. Let's say that they use the word to talk instead of dire. Then we can change it up like that. Well, that's how they are written, but they are pronounced a bit differently. The letter L is basically silent, so we could cut it out, but I will just leave it there. Now we are going to adjust the pronouns a bit too. Je stays je, tu becomes thou, from Old English though. Il, elle, on becomes il, elle, on. Nous becomes we, vous becomes you, and il, elle becomes they. Now some basic stuff like articles. In French we have le, la, les, and the indirect ones un, une, des. In English we have a, an, or we leave it out, as the indirect article and the as the direct article. Articles are so frequently used that I think that the gender difference would definitely stay. Well, almost. I can really see that le, la, le stays, but une could be pronounced like an, and thus merging together, and maybe they can keep the difference in writing or not. Well, it is 400 years after all, so I decided to use an, pronounced like this. Vocabulary. The vocabulary should be kind of English, well, more Germanic than today's French. Let's take a few example words: water, man, woman, country, and dog. In French respectively, it is eau, homme, femme, pays, et chien. There is an equivalent of o in Old English, but it is more pronounced like you, and it doesn't really fit here. Thus I will still use o or maybe wo because it combines with the English word water. I will do the same with the word man, merging it with homme. A French person would write and pronounce man like this: mon. Femme and female are so similar that it may say femme. Country, land, and pays don't sound that similar. But there is a French word contrée in Old French and contrée in Modern French. Contrée for country is good enough in my opinion. Now to the word dog. In Middle English the word for dog was dodge or dog, pronounced like this, I don't know. Finally we can let a French person pronounce this, and it sounds like doge, our new Anglois word. Now we come to my favorite part. I tried translating the Lord's Prayer and it went horribly wrong. And here you have the view of all three versions in French, English and Anglois. Votre Patre qui est en heaven, sanctifié est ton nom. Ton règne comme ta will est marquante sobre la terre comme en heaven. Donnez-nous today votre bread this day. Pardonne-nous outre offensés, comme we pardonnons de qui ont offendé contre nous. Et ne nous laisse entrer en tentation, pourtant délivre-nous de Herville. Cause din est le règne, la peur et la gloire, pour les siècles des siècles. Amen. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please pardon my French or my Anglois. It is really not good. Please like and subscribe, like always, and see you next week.